This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, all. I'm Shashina Rolla. As always, it is so great to have you with us. Topping news, the search for the Freeport missing man in waters off Grand Key is expected to be called off in a couple of hours. The newspaper vendor reportedly fell from a vessel Sunday night, and a massive search and rescue mission has produced no results. Tonight, a family member says that they realize the length of time that has already lapsed, yet they are still hoping for the best. The search for a man who went missing heading to Grand Key on a barge expected to be called off by tonight. Anita Sweeting, the sister of Ormond Dean, telling ZNS News that she traveled to the Key on Monday morning to gather more information as to what could have happened.
The search and rescue efforts had proven to be fruitless at that point, and shortly after I got to Grand Key, the police, the Marine section of the Royal Bahamas Police Force would have been heading back out. Shortly thereafter, about 3 o'clock, they went back out and to do another round of searching, after which a helicopter that was promised to come in, I think, from the Coast Guard or Basra, did in fact show up, and I did see it flying over and continuing their search. But upon their return at around 4, there was still no signs or no kinds of particles of anything.
She says the search continued today as a team of officers traveled to Grand Key to assist.
It is my understanding, after speaking with Inspector Mortimer, that the mandate is to continue the searching for a 48-hour period, and if there is no signs of anything within that 48-hour period, it is their mandate to call the search off after a 48-hour period. The search is only extended to a 72-hour period if during that earlier search they would have found a particle of clothing or anything to suggest that his body would have been nearby.
That 48-hour window ends at 9 tonight. She says this is a very difficult time for the family.
Doing the best that we can, for these mothers in Forbes Hill, Exuma, and we're checking on one another, we're keeping one another uplifted in prayer, and we're doing the best we can in the midst of this situation. We just want to send a thanks out to the community. We're just realizing now how much he was loved.
Sweeting says at this point, the family is looking for closure.
Closure would be very, very, very good. I traveled to Grand Key, and I've experienced the currents, and I've seen the fastness and the vastness of that ocean. So I can't speak for what God is doing, but it would really be good to have some closure.
In other news, an off-duty police officer was shot during an apparent attempted armed robbery over in Abaco. Police tell us that the officer was in a parking lot on the Don McKay Boulevard around 9 last night, where he was accosted by a masked gunman who attempted to rob him. Police say at that point the gunman's weapon was discharged, hitting the off-duty police officer, and the suspect then escaped in nearby bushes. Now, the officer was treated at the Marsh Harbor Clinic for non-life-threatening injuries and later discharged. Police are actively investigating this matter and are asking anyone with any information regarding this investigation to call the Abaco Police at 367-3437, 367-2560, at the CDU office at 350-3107-12, 911-919, or your nearest police station. Switching gears now, the local Chamber of Commerce going the extra mile to make residents more aware of the level of funding available for those interested in starting a business. An executive with the Bahamas Venture Capital Fund is outlining the requirements in order to qualify. Megan Shepard has this report.
Fund manager at the Bahamas Entrepreneurial Venture Fund on Island to assist entrepreneurs in getting their businesses started, as well as growing existing businesses. Sean Brennan says there may be entrepreneurs on Grand Bahama in need of funding, but they must be aware of the key components of running a business.
In terms of the internal controls of a business, what it takes to ensure that you have those controls in place. And then from an external perspective, we look at what are those factors. For example, the competition. What's your pricing strategy? What's your marketing strategy? What you ought to be doing differently to actually make or ensure that your business is successful.
Brennan adds that business plans must be creative and show the dynamic difference that makes your business stand out from others. He also explains that research is another big factor.
Research, understand the field, the industry in which you're going to be operating, really understand the ins and outs, understand and really track those who've maybe been in the industry before you, what made them successful, what made some of them fail, how am I going to be operating my business differently, and then given the environment, what was then, what has changed now, and how is my business able to adapt to those changing conditions in the market. That's really going to be critical. So I oftentimes like to say, because you can cook does not mean you can run a restaurant. So really focusing on what it takes to be a successful operation in Grand Bahama, given the unique opportunities and the unique challenges that are here in Grand Bahama.
Brennan says when it comes to funding a business, the fund uses a three-prong approach. Is your business viable, sustainable, and profitable? And as to how much money is available to entrepreneurs?
Our buy-in into a project is approximately $50,000. So from $50,000, we can go as high in terms of a loan, as high as $100,000 seed investment into a Bahamian business. The second way the venture fund is able to assist Bahamian companies is by way of purchasing shares in that Bahamian business. And our buy-in in that respect is seed is $50,000 minimum, and then we can invest up to $200,000 into a project. So funds are available. That's not the challenge. It's been the really creative, brilliant ideas for us then to sow into.
Megan Shepard, ZNS Network News.
In other news, it has become a signature event for the East on Easter Monday. It is the annual Coconut Festival, and each year residents travel east just to indulge in delicacies made from coconut. This big cultural event also delivers huge financial dividends for that community. Here again is Megan Shepard.
The 18th annual Pelican Point Coconut Festival was one not to miss. Scores of tourists and residents alike made the drive to East End on the Easter Monday holiday to enjoy all things coconut, from creative dishes, desserts, and drinks to homemade crafts. Minister for Grand Bahama, the Honorable Dr. Michael Darville, attended the festival and says he's pleased to see the growth of the event, particularly the participation of the young people.
I like it because of the economic impact. It's a signature event. And as you can see, the pastries, the drinks, everything revolves around coconuts, and we had some beautiful issues as it relates to children and their understanding of various pastries that exist here at the Pelican Bay event. So I'm excited what's happening, and I'm glad to be here this year to support them 100%.
Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism, Harrison Thompson, says this initiative is beneficial to the residents in the East and the entire island.
At the Ministry of Tourism, we have embarked on a domestic tourism product. Yeah, we try to get the islands to create events so that the tourists can come and experience our culture. Tourists are now traveling for culture. They want to taste the food, they want to see how you dance, they want to hear your music. So they're traveling for culture now. And this event here in Pelican Point is one of the signature events in terms of exposing our culture to the tourists.
Thompson also encouraged residents to stick together. He says that in order for this event to continue to succeed, there must be unity.
Anything that has been going on for 18 years and still has that wow factor is something that you need to come and see. I invite all Bahamians to come next year if they can't make it for this event. To plan to come here next year. This is my third year as the Permanent Secretary in Tourism to attend this event, and I've really enjoyed it.
Megan Shepard, ZNS Network News.
Stay with us, there's more news right after this.